Wanted to fleece a tenant for every penny? Good luck trying to rent out your property now. All landlords are basically a *** holes. Everyone knows that. But if you think residential landlords are bad, they are absolute angels compared to commercial landlords. Commercial property owners are some of the most ruthless and vile people I have ever had to deal with. This revenge story is about one such commercial landlord and how I handled him. In the 90s, I sometimes went for lunch at a restaurant in the basement of our building. It was called the Vault because there was a massive bank safe there, left over from the days when the place wasn't a restaurant. The safe was so huge that it could fit several tables, and you could dine surrounded by rows of old, glimmering safety deposit boxes. One day I was eating there, and the owner pulled me aside. "The landlord is driving me crazy," he said. "That landlord drives everyone crazy," I replied. I was a subtenant in the same building myself, sharing an office with an elderly lawyer named Aaron, and the landlord was constantly causing us problems. I had already had several run-ins with him, and we hated each other at first sight. In most jurisdictions, commercial landlords don't need a court order to kick you out if you are late on rent. They just change the locks, and you find out when you arrive and your key no longer fits. Every time our landlord had a dispute with someone, which happened often, he always threatened to change the locks. He's constantly demanding some additional rent payments, the restaurant owner said. And it's very strange because most of it is some ancient crap. He showed me a letter the landlord had handed him that same day. I looked at the demands and saw a list of expenses for snow removal, parking lot repairs, flooring in common areas, and other costs. All of this had been done many years ago. I read to the end, and, of course, there was the standard clause saying he would change the locks if the tenant didn't pay for this and that. "Did you do something to piss him off?" I asked. Because even for our landlord, this is overkill. He knows I'm moving out. I think he's just trying to shake out as much money as possible before I clear out. Plus, he's hounding me about the safe. He won't let you take it with you. Are you joking? It weighs almost 100 tons. I don't even want the safe. Well, the lease says I am obligated to dismantle it and return the premises to the state they were in before the safe was installed. That will cost a fortune. This jerk landlord says if I leave the safe after I move, he'll sue me. "Send the lease to my office, I'll take a look at it," I said. I finished lunch, and when I got back to the office, the contract was already waiting for me. It turned out to be exactly as bad as the restaurant owner said. The contract was an extension of an extension, and the assignments were extensions, and the original documents dated back to shortly after the end of World War II, when a bank first leased the space and installed the safe. Somehow, the landlord tricked the restaurant into accepting a contract where they were obligated to dismantle the bank vault at the end of the lease. No problem, I thought. The restaurant can declare bankruptcy, and all the landlord can do is sue an empty shell company. But on the last page of the contract, I saw a guarantee clause. The restaurant owner had personally guaranteed the lease and was now obligated to remove the massive safe and restore the premises. It would have cost a fortune. The case was hopeless. That much was clear immediately. But then I thought about the landlord with his demands, threats, and rent hikes, and I asked my brain to do me a favor. And it didn't let me down. I picked up the phone and called the restaurant owner. "I'm screwed, aren't I?" he said. "Are you calling to say there's no way out?" My lawyer already said the same thing. I just decided to double-check. "I can save you, but it's going to cost money." "How much?" $5,000 for legal services and another $1,000 for the agent." "The agent? What agent?" "A realtor. Send a certified check and leave the rest to me." The check was on my desk in less than an hour. I went into Aaron's office. "I need a realtor," I said. "Buying a house?" "No." "Selling a house?" "No." By this point, I had shared an office with Aaron for almost 5 years, and he knew me pretty well. "Starting another one of your schemes?" he asked. "Yeah, but you won't have any problems." Aaron reached for his old address book and started flipping through. "I know a guy," he said. Aaron knew all kinds of people, and that, by the way, is one of the reasons they eventually revoked his law license. But he knew the right person. He gave me the name and number of an agent, and the next day I went to see him. I explained what I needed, and we agreed on the terms. I handed him the paperwork and the cash for his services. A few days later, I was having lunch at the vault again. The owner saw me come in and greeted me personally. "The landlord is here," he said. "Why?" "Eating and acting like a jerk. Let's sit inside the safe. I don't want to see his face." He led me into the vault room, and with the door almost completely closed, we conducted our consultation over pasta and red wine. "We are issuing demands to the landlord," I said between bites of perfect carbonara. "Demands? What demands?" I pulled documents out of my briefcase and handed them to him, sipping my wine. "We are demanding that the landlord allow us to take all of his equipment, including the built-in stuff. Ovens, freezers, ventilation, everything needed for a restaurant to function." "The contract doesn't forbid that," the restaurant owner said. "He can't stop me from taking what I want. The equipment is mine anyway. The only thing that matters is the safe, and I obviously don't want it." I shook my head. "You want the safe," I said. "And we are demanding that he allows it to be moved within 7 business days. Do you think he can be bluffed into doing the opposite? Do you think if we treat him like a 2-year-old, he'll fall for it and swallow it all? We'll find out soon." He had already received the demand a couple of days prior. The restaurant owner dropped his glass, and it shattered on the marble floor. "You already sent him the demands?" he asked. He jumped up, swung the vault door open, and called a waiter to clean up the shards. "Let's see what the landlord says," I said, and we walked over to his table. The landlord was a large, fleshy man with a formidable appetite. He was sitting alone, greedily eating lamb loin with his hands. "My client needs an answer today," I said. The landlord looked up at me, chewing loudly. "I am the lawyer for this restaurant," I said. "I served you with demands a couple of days ago. My client needs an answer right now. He needs the safe for the new premises, and he needs to plan everything out." "Your client can forget about the bank safe," he said, wiping his huge greasy hands on a napkin. "But you can't do that," I said. My surprise was feigned, but the restaurant owner's jaw actually dropped. The landlord laughed in our faces. "Ha ha 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 ha. I'm the landlord. I can do whatever I want." "I need to get your answer in writing because my client may want to sue," I said. "Sue all you want," the landlord replied. "Sue until you're blue in the face." He said I'd have an official response by the end of the day and then told me to get lost and let him finish his meal in peace. And so, a letter arrived from the landlord, in which he confirmed his ownership of the bank safe. I went downstairs and showed the response to my client. "How the hell did you do that?" "Professional secret," I said. The next month, the restaurant moved out and the premises became empty. It was a pity, as I always liked eating in the vault. The restaurant was now in a new location 20 minutes away. The new place was also called the Vault, and they kept the atmosphere of the old spot. Everything was very similar, except there was no bank safe. The vault itself stayed where it had always been, in the basement of the building where I rented an office. Some time later, I came to work, and Aaron intercepted me. "The landlord is looking for you," he said. "Yeah. What about?" "He's furious. Says the deal fell through." "The deal?" "He was going to rent the downstairs space to a new tenant, a bank, a credit union, or someone like that. They were supposed to come and sign the lease, but they never showed up." "And what does that have to do with me?" I said to Aaron. I repeated the same thing to the landlord when he managed to corner me a couple of days later. "I know you set this up," he said. His jowls were shaking. "I know it was you. That offer from the agent was total bullsh*t. Just a trick to make me keep the vault so your client could split quietly and leave that crappy bank vault behind. I'm going to sue you. If you're looking for a lawyer, I'm afraid I'll have to declare a conflict of interest. I'll sue the restaurant, that agent, and you." He turned around and walked away. But the landlord never sued. Of course he didn't. He didn't have a contract on which to sue, only a vague letter of intent that I had drafted myself. It was just enticing enough for a greedy landlord, used to always getting his way, to take the bait. The offer he received was non-binding and could not be accepted without signing a full lease agreement, which, of course, was never signed. When I moved out of Aaron's office a year later, the downstairs space was still empty. A dismal "for rent" sign hung in the window, already beginning to fade.